Good day, everybody. Hope all is well, and welcome to our final Africa Day dialogue. It's been a long day, but it's been a great day, and we've moved right across the diaspora. We've been in Africa, we've been in the Caribbean, we've been in Europe, and it's been great. So this session now, we're now thinking about the future. We're heading into the future. And those of us who are now thinking about the future, we're now saying to ourselves, what should we be telling that 10-year-old? So that 10-year-old now, in 50 years' time, when they get to our generation, they look back and they're saying to their young people, prepare for the 22nd century. That's how we're thinking at the moment. So I'm really pleased. We've got some guests this evening. We're going to show a great film, Social Kingdom Rise, by Winston Hislop. And once again, our main speaker for this evening, with her broad perspective, will be Dr. Laura Thompson. We've got Kirk Elliott from St. Lucia. We got,
Katie. It's been a long day.
Katie, yeah, Katie. I'll just say Katie. I'll just say Katie. From South African living on Reunion Island. It's been a long day indeed. Right, get over that hurdle. And so, Dr. Laura, tell us now and speak to our theme for a couple of minutes, creativity and culture across the metaverse. That's our theme for
first, thanks for having me. And it has been, I've traveled. Today I've traveled, and I am just pleased with all of the different places that I have, all the people that I've met from the different diaspora. As it relates to creativity and the metaverse and the future, one of the things that we should consider is the stories. What are the stories that we want to tell? What are the things that need to be known? What things have been left out of the narrative that have caused the young people to not even know or question what's missing? I think as gatekeepers, we are definitely responsible, and because we are here, we are charged with forging the way for the next generation so that they are mentally and physically equipped to continue the legacy and the story. Because without a vision, people perish, and for lack of knowledge, people go back into slavery. And so if you don't know that you are a king or a queen, then you have the potential to imprison yourself. And so what better way to use technology to bridge the gap than to present stories of past, present, and future to the next and the now generation, and equip them with ways to honor that process. So I hope to delve into that discussion. I know that's very broad, but I like to get very specific based on the ideas that I hear from people. So I'm not going to belabor the discussion any further. I just want to hear what everyone has to say. And thank you for having me, Rudy. This has been wonderful.
Great, thank you very much. And we're going to go to Ketty, just to give us your broad 2 or 3 minute overview before we go to Kirk, then we go to the film.
Okay, so I'm Katie. I'm a singer-songwriter, content producer, South African that's living in Reunion Island. The campaign that brings me and Rudy where we meet is a campaign that we are launched today. In fact, we've been working on it, called Campaign Africa, and it's as an annual production series where we're discovering young musicians and the ideas that we have an event that brings us all together in a synchronized way for Africa Day and for the Africa Month, creating content. The other way it is that it's a collaborative production that is established to affect the ecosystem and to create collaborations for the business sector meeting the creative industry to help social enterprise. So how do we shine the spotlight on people working in their communities, and how do we ask the creatives to dedicate some of their time and their resources towards achieving social good.
Thank you. Excellent. Over to you, Kirk.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you for this invitation. Greetings to you. Greetings to the ladies on board. Greetings to the world out there. My name is Kirk Elliott. I live in the Caribbean island of St. Lucia. I am a photographer, and in more recent times, I have been quite involved in local history, culture, cuisine, sharing it with visitors on the island. I recently started working with a community of descendants of the freedom fighters from that great kidnapping that happened hundreds of years ago, with our brothers and sisters being taken from the continent and brought all across the world. Today, I find myself engrossed, engaged with helping to tell the stories, because stories have been foisted upon us in our history. Christopher Columbus discovered the New World and we came here as slaves. Well, that's someone's narrative. What is our narrative? And when we look towards our narrative, it really is a glorious past, a glorious history of resistance and survival. I'm excited about this session that speaks to technology, NFTs, the metaverse, because I have had in my mind to create an NFT that speaks to our story, our unique story of resistance, of conquest here in St. Lucia, and creating a game out of it that will teach the youth in a very fun, organic way, engage them and help them to recognize that they are kings and queens in the making, because they're young princes and princesses, and for us to embrace and uplift and glorify them. That's my insight and my take for being here today. Thank you.
Excellent. And as we go to our film for the next few moments, which is being produced by Winston Hislop, it's called SoulJah Kingdom Rise. I'm going to leave any narrative over to Dr. Laura Thompson.
So we'll do the film first, yes?
Yeah.
There is a bonfire burning in the middle of the village. The sounds of drum echoing through the darkness. An old man sitting in front of a water bill are making groaning sounds. His face is painted with white paint. The paint is crafted in the shape of a symbol, while a spiritual dance takes place around the fire. Another man sits directly in front of the old man. He has the perfect physique, black and handsome, with a scar on his left cheek that looks like the scratch from the paws of some kind of animal. He looks nervous, but his nervousness is not out of fear, but out of excitement. He seems anxious, yet remains calm. He looks like a man expecting something and can't wait to get it, like a child waiting to open the first present at Christmas. There is a complete silence over the entire village. Then out from the silence, you could hear the cry of a newborn baby.
Take care of our little girl. She's going to need you. The boys are going to need you.
My beautiful wife, Ophelia. My love, please, I need you. Please, don't leave me.
I will always be with you, my love. But my journey has come to an end. My spirit will always be with you till we meet again. Let me see my boys and my baby one last time. Let me say goodbye to them all.
Guidance systems engaged. All systems go.
From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya.
Take me down.
I'm a soldier, I was trained for this. On the battlefield, I'm an anarchist. Put me on the front line, I'ma handle it. I'm the type to try and take a bomb from a terrorist. I'm going in, so cover me. Look through your scope and tell me what you see. Prepare to shoot on the counter tree. I'm about to put it all on my enemies. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya. Knapsack on my back, pour my goggles on my lap. No GPS, my map is right in front of me. I got my hit list. I'm a sniper, this my target, I will not miss. I'm going in, so cover me. Look through your scope and tell me what you see. Prepare to shoot on the counter tree. I'm about to put it all on my enemies. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya. If a war you want, say you know me have me fire stick. Man a soldier, we no mix up in a politics. Jungle warfare, come me, we put you down. I'm a buffalo soldier, me ready now. I'm the general, the leader for your army. We have the soldiers and the whole of them a follow me. Put me to the test, Almighty a go guide me. No retreat, no surrender for we enemy. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya. From the day that me born, me's a soldier. No one no military training, me a soldier. Now go back, me now go back from no danger. And me God and him a guide and protect ya.
carrier. Mission code 5730-530-00. We are now in zone area 05-09. Awaiting code orders to activate mission to retrieve the first egg. Mission is a go. I repeat. Mission is a go.
My name is Sankofa. I am the leader of the SoulJah elite team, born to serve and protect this world from outside intruders. You extraterrestrial picked the wrong trying to come to this planet to take what does not belong to you. for your own dimension. I face the wrath of my power.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all slept well, and I hope you are all now fully awake. The time has now come for us to put Operation SoulJah into active. We are now being spiritually led to locate the Ankh, protect and defend the Earth. This is the SoulJah Elite's mission. Any questions? Good. Let's do this.
There we go. Winston Hislop.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to pass this next step of the dialogue between yourself and Dr. Laura.
Yeah.
And Dr. Laura will lead this, and then we'll bring in everybody else with their perspective. Over to you, Dr. Laura.
Well, Winston, it's lovely being with you again. How are you doing?
I'm good, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you know, the woman at the table, she says, you know, I hope you had some nice sleep. I hope you got some rest, and I don't see where you've gotten much rest working on this. How many hours so far do you think that you and the team have spent? How many hours have? Oh, how are you? Okay. How many hours? How many hours do you think the team has spent putting this together?
I don't think I can give it to you in hours. What I can give it to you is in years.
Okay.
We spent about 4 years developing not only the video, but the story and where we want the story to go. So what you've just seen is when we just started.
Right.
And that was between 2017, 2018. And we've developed a story because the music video, it's what started the whole thing. Because I did the video for a track, which is on my album.
Right.
And, you know, well, my producer suggests the idea that he can do an animation video. So it was cool with me, even though I wasn't too hairy about it, but it was all right. And when he did it, everyone started to mention video game. This looks like a video game. So the penny dropped for me there. And I knew at the time I wanted to do something other than music, because I've been doing music all my life. So I wanted to do something different. And I'm kind of I'm a film buff. I'm a movie kind of guy. So over the years, I've studied a lot of movie, not knowing what I'm doing it for. And at this point of my life, I realized, yeah, this is, you know, I could write a story that is totally original. I mean, you know, a lot of people, you see that now, you wouldn't know what the story is all about, but the story is based in Jamaica, 2093. So I'm writing oh gosh, I can't remember the name he called it, but this is where I'm going with the old SoulJah Kingdom Rise story, and the metaverse and everything that goes with it. It's a beautiful story, and it's a story that can go on for the next 30 years.
I'm sure it can. And so Rudy, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take what Winston said, and I'm gonna come back to you, Winston, and I'm gonna talk to Kirk for a minute. And there's something about journey that I'm gonna speak to Ketty about. So be ready, Ketty, because I'm gonna ask you a question about Ketty. So Kirk, you mentioned the idea of taking some of your story and well, you mentioned possibly creating a game. Now there's a reason why I asked Winston the question, because when we develop stories, when we film, for every minute of film, there is there's quite a few hours of editing for every minute of film that we do, okay? So when you speak in terms of NFTs, you may be talking about telling the story in smaller bites. And I want to tell you that there is interplanetary file system technology that can accommodate smaller bites of film, segmented for you. So it's IPFS, and IPFS is really going to take over HTTP. So just thinking that in that realm already, you're going to be able to preserve what it is you want to do for cheaper or free. Because we are already in this space where we're talking together, you'll be able to establish your own node and direct traffic directly to who you want it to go to. And then bypass some of the speeds that we are dealing with, even with the current internet. So I just want you to hold on to that and just think of the model associated with generating content, maybe in bites that are appropriate for the story that you want to tell. All right. Now, and I'm gonna go to Ketty. Ketty is what, right?
Ketty.
Ketty. There in Winston's story, I'm coming right back to you, Winston, so don't disappear. In Winston's story, there is a journey. And I remember when we first started speaking, you mentioned something about a journey that you want people on this venture to go on. So in the States, we have something called the Dramatists Guild, right? And there are retreats, so writing retreats. So there are people looking for this excursion that you have already. And they're willing to, I mean, there are people that will rent out Airbnbs for a month because they need to write. And so the price of it, just consider the price of the Airbnb market in the States is going up ridiculously. And if somebody could travel to another country and get the same exact thing that you are offering, then you probably just need to do your advertising over here or in the Dramatists Guild. The Dramatists Guild is it's an online publication. I'm a member of the Dramatists Guild as a writer, and I'm coming right back to Winston with writing in a moment. The Dramatists Guild is a publication, just like the Screenwriters Guild and the Acting Guild. So the Dramatists Guild is for writers and lyricists. And there is opportunity for people that are members. The membership for me is $11 a month. And you can advertise in there for excursions. And those excursions are for writers. And if you even wanted to NFT the thing, you can, determine, okay, I'm giving you this segment of this vacation and it's going to cost you this in NFTs. So if you don't even want to deal with cash, there's ways you can actually segment portions of the trip, like a 2-day is, and maybe you're going to do it in Poly or Matic or some other currency, maybe not ETH, maybe something else. There's plenty of other currencies out there. If you look on Blotco, BLOTCO, Blotco has a tremendous amount of other currencies and the gas fees are very minimal. And especially as you shift into,
where should I look again? Blot?
BLOT, C as in Charlie, O, Blotco.
Okay.
When you go on Blotco, you're going to see there's plenty of other currencies in that wallet. Right?
Okay.
Flow, FLOW is one of those currencies in that wallet. And so you'll be able to mint and create NFTs for excursions to your place. And people are not even paying cash per se, but you're going to be able to convert those currencies, those cryptos to whatever you want. And that will make things, yeah, that gets you into the travel market. But you know, just kind of consider that that's what's done here in the States. And I'm telling you, the price of Airbnbs is going right through the roof. So if people can get the same experience out of the country, they're going to get more done faster. They're going to be willing to go on the bus ride because they're going to follow directions because this is not okay. So Winston, my friend, I'm coming back to you. Where did you go? You gone? Winston?
No, I'm right here.
Okay. So I appreciate what it is that you have presented. It's the story is so rich. And of course, for me, the music. Oh my, the music is you, isn't it?
It is.
You?
It is, yes.
So, yeah, the music hits. I mean, it's one thing to tell the story, but the music really presents the culture.
Yes.
And the fact that you've taken these little small bites of music, and it's not even the whole song, it's a portion of the song, and you know, and I mean, it's just profound. Well, you don't know this, but I did film some of the music live and put it on my Instagram so that people could see. Yes, I did, because I was like, this is hard hitting. This is like, yes, if you really want to know what this thing is supposed to sound like, listen to this, you know?
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to shift and go on a music discussion with you. To be able to bring this out in music, it should be a dream come true for you, isn't it? But it's also an extension of your life.
It is a very, it wasn't planned this way, but destiny and the universe have a way of doing things. And it works because, as you said, it's an extension of my life, because I take,
yes, it is.
I've created a universe out of one of my records. And that's what happened, you know. It's a 3 minutes record.
Yeah.
And I've created a universe from it. And it's beautiful. I've just finished SoulJah Kingdom Rise book. Which, you know, I've got another book out there, which you see a clip of it on, you know, which is Rebirth, a Maroon Warrior. So now it's SoulJah Kingdom Rise, which is a bigger book and a bigger story, and it's just fantastic.
One of the things I have to admire,
it's phenomenal.
I have to admire something else about you, and this speaks to anybody that's writing at all or doing anything. And to myself, you know when to cut. When I say cut, I mean, because we can take that thing apart and we could go the gamut, but would you finish? That's the question. Yeah. We are so creative. I mean, I see stuff and I'm afraid to even mention anything about, you know, mention anything that I see, because I'm like, oh my goodness, if that would keep you back in the I'm one of, like, when I saw the book open at the beginning and it's being read by someone, I'm like, that just the beginning of is a film in and of itself. So I guess what my thought about the reading of the book, what does that mean from the standpoint of knowledge? Because a lot of games don't take you back to source, you know, or so when you put the book in there, what were you thinking in terms of knowledge? And
well, the book,
and I mean sharing knowledge, you know, sharing the knowledge.
Yes, and the game and the film will also do the same. But the book for me that's something that I've never ever done, and I never thought I would be able to do something like that. That was far from even my imagination. But when I did it, when I wanted to do it, I knew I had to do something that's going to teach, that is going to have a cultural effect. And the game and the book, everything, it does that, because I've embodied different race of people within the book, within the game, and I do it naturally. It's not like I'm forcing that in there. I wanted to bring cultures together, people working together. My team is a cultural team. It's different race of people, and this is what this is all about. It's all about culture. It's bringing culture from where we're coming from. This story starts. It didn't start here on Earth. It started on a planet called Celium, which is almost like Eden, and it finds its way into the cockpit mountain of Jamaica. Wow, how did you do that? 400 years ago. But the story begins 400 years in the future. So I can't even explain to you how people will enjoy this kind of story in whatever form it comes: book, film, animation, video game, whatever form it comes. Is going to teach people things. It's going to tell people things that they didn't know. But there is my fiction in there, which it's the way how I see the future. It's the way how I see what's going to happen in the future. So I get that, and I'm gonna say something to you that I'm impressed about. I haven't known you long, but I met a little girl who's become my she's become a fan. I've become a fan of hers. Her name is Serene Hislop. Do you know who that is? Oh gosh, I recognize that last name. Oh,
yeah.
Yes. She's my 7-year-old daughter.
This little girl is so precious, and I'm coming right back to you, Kurt, because you said something about educating the next generation. This little girl, I didn't know her from Adam, but I saw a video of her presenting her book that she wrote at 7 years old. And I said to myself, not only is she poised with confidence, her book is as simple as anything. It's friends. Oh, I have the book. Should I share it with you? Let me go and get the book. I'm so excited.
Take up my book.
Going to get my book.
That's so funny. Oh, wow.
I ordered this book.
Wow.
From Serene, and I held it up. She had her hair in two ponytails, and I put my hair in 2 ponytails, and I took a picture and sent it back to Dad. I won't show it to you because you'll laugh too much, right? But
I was going to say, do you want me to share it? That's a few tokens. We'll discuss later.
Here's my thing. Let's start a trend. Let's start a trend with the hashtag and in fact the next generation of technology and that sort of thing is everything is hashtag and there's hashes. Let's start a trend.
You're right. You're right, Laura. You're right. Because when I saw you do it.
Okay, Rudy. If you find the picture, you can show it, Lord. Oh my God, it's gonna be such an embarrassment. No, because she has pretty nice hair, and mine was just, but yeah.
But yeah, that's a trend.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Reshare it. It's fine.
Because
it's fine. But let's start a trend. I'm coming to you, Kirk. But let's start a trend.
Oh, and I've got some magic in store as well. So I'm just privy to go.
Wicked Kirk.
Yeah, but okay. So let me kind of bring everybody into the conversation. Everybody that is on Twitter, we start tweets with the hashtag, literally the hashtag, and you put a hashtag and then whatever you want to start a trend with that hashtag, right? Okay. Hashes are extended to the IPFS verse, okay, which is pretty much one of the foundations of Web3. All right. So if you can start a trend, then people that have like trends will eventually connect to you. And that is what makes the decentralized space versus everything going to the center. And then you have to wait. You have to wait until the center feels like is ready to release. And that's why our internet speeds are slow or slowing down, because we have a few folks in the center that are, I mean, they're doing the best that they can, but how they've built the internet is not the way it was intended. And God forbid some government or anybody decides to shut this thing down. We have to build, we have to build relationships. Those relationships must have nodes and content that we can pull from. And we have to kind of shift our thinking from pulling everything from one source or from the center all the time, because what if the center cannot, I mean, what if the center shuts down? I mean, look at Egypt. Egypt had a moment where they shut down their internet. Russia had a moment where they shut down their internet. I'm sure the Ukraine had something where they shut down their internet. And what do you end up having? You end up having what we went through as Black people, being separated from each other with no way of communicating.
And remember
Rudy,
that
you're going to say something.
And remember that old saying, when the center doesn't hold, then all around collapses.
Everything collapses.
Yeah. And the only way that collapse is successful is if we as leaders do not fulfill our area of building up our node and maintaining our connections. And making connections work, right?
Absolutely making connections work. But also, again, it brings us back to the price of empowerment is collective responsibility. And that's what we've really been talking about today. The price of empowerment. If we're empowered people, then we have to accept collective responsibility as part of that. And that reduction of rivalries from within that inhibits our what we call endogenous growth, so development from within. And we should be competing into the wider world. There's a
Rudy, Bob said it best and said it a while back. Collective security for surety.
Exactly.
Know your history. Know your destiny. For in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty.
Absolutely. And the good thing is we're now taking this collaborative thinking into the metaverse, and we're taking it in quite early. So again, in the history of time, we're at the forefront. But having said that, what lessons have we learned? So we're going to have to still have forums that are about lessons learned, not just about can we be bigger, stronger, better, be more competitive. That's important, but again, we've been there before when we've had the greatest, created the greatest, and then you know, there was a descent, you know. So those lessons learned are really important. So to my mind then, that somehow, then Laura, those lessons learned have to be built in any progression.
And And Kathy has an excellent example about lessons learned. And as soon as she finishes, I'm going to go to Alegna because I want to see her. Kathy, early on, you mentioned a partial collapse in a healthcare system where people were dispersed from receiving care, but when they were dispersed, there was no resources really to, go ahead.
Yes, the government trying to privatize the mental health system, putting and then giving the contracts to without doing any vetting. Then people are ending up in like normal residential homes, in 20, 30 people being squeezed in, 3-bedroomed homes. Medication is not proper. The staff is not trained to deal with mental health, patients. And just the resources not arriving even from government to those people to pay them to get the food. So there was just a lot of, it collapsed in a very devastating way.
And so, and before I go to Alegna, I have a question, Rudy, from the standpoint of your vision, and this might be kind of on the spotty, but what do you see as a difference between, like say, the vision of making connections work and say privatization and the mission of privatization? I mean, at least as it was described in this scenario. To me, I feel like there's still a little bit of selfishness in privatization. No, there's a lack of compassion. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, I don't want us to be distracted. This is an important topic, but what I would say, to make connections work, it's about building relationships. It's about collaboration, trust, and cooperation. It's about sharing. And in fact, most of the time, it will be about you putting forward your willingness to support others before you receive anything from them. And that, to my mind, is the best model, because that then brings us to what we call pooling resources.
Right.
The sharing of the benefits of that value, whether it be economic, cultural, social, it might be well-being. So there's always a creative response to the challenges that we find ourselves in, because the partner system was developed by Caribbean people in the UK to meet those needs. Thousands of years ago, people knew that if they grew one type of crop, somebody else grew a different type of crop. So they just simply swapped what they didn't need for themselves. So it's that, and to my mind, that's important for us to stay in that way of thinking, that way of creative thinking, because whatever the challenges that we face, we are where we are. And you find your way out of challenges as a group by reaching a consensus, and through unity you solve, or we will solve, the most complex and complicated problems. We come up with solutions. So that would be the ground. That would be the ground that I would stay on, because if you go into the other ground, the other part of the ground that is about blame and etc., you end up getting lost in the argument, and that doesn't in the end take us anywhere. So
with that being said, Rudy mentioned something very important about pooling resources together, and what people don't realize is that Alegna and I have something in common. We both come from database fields, and Alegna is a part of the Aqua Blue team with Winston Hislop. And so I wanted to hear a little bit from Alegna, and how she might have helped to pool resources together to create the work that we just saw, because it takes infrastructure to make that happen. And when you're dealing with creatives, most people are creating in, you know, multiple directions. So you need, I don't want to say you need a governor, but every ship needs a governor. But every horse has a tongue that kind of governs, you know, the direction. That's why they put the bit in the tongue so that it, you know, it governs the head. And so maybe I can say that Alegna is queen and she's the governor of, and that could be my perspective. But I would love to hear, Alegna, how did you do it?
She's dropped off.
Here she is.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm on.
How did you do it?
Okay, so I got brought into the team and the creators were already there. What I did was the back office side of it, pulling everything together, structure, etc. And during the course of doing that, my creative side came out. I think Winston pulled my creative side out. So, you know, the whole team with me there as, if you want to say Queen Bee, pulling it all together. And we're all creating together, and we've brought something that is absolutely exceptional. I know you've seen that, and you've seen the trailer you've seen the start and up to, you know, where we are now. I wasn't there at that point, but I was there spiritually, yeah. So I joined at the right time, and we're all as a team pulling it together. So on the data side of me, I have done analytics, not within gaming, within a social housing capacity. So I know how to use specific tools to pull data together. There's one specific tool that I use, which was called Cognos. And there's also another one, I can't remember the name of it, but you can put all kinds of information into the system and pull out the information that you need in terms of audience. I know how I would use that information anyway to try and pinpoint who the audiences are, and segment, you know, that particular community. So that's though. That's my input so far.
I think she's been a bit
modest.
What you call it? Modest. Right. Yes, she's been a bit modest because when I started Aqua Blue Games, you know, I don't rate myself as this great businessman, but I can create. I'm a creator. I create things. I make things happen. And the missing link within Aqua Blue Games was Alegna. She was the missing link because when she came in, she centralized everything. She put everything. The whole team, my IP, everything that I've got, she put it in one place and centralize it. So now the company is running like a beautiful stream. And that's the part I wanted to get right. Because, if that part ain't right, nothing isn't right. So she spent months and months and months now just putting that side together for Aqua Blue Games. So, hey.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, I think one of the main things to consider is the relationships. And that's one of the things that people in our field do. We build relationships. And each relationship is a node that has the resource that will come together at a certain time. Rudy, what were you going to say?
Let's hear from Kurt. Kurt's got his hand up.
Yeah, okay, Kurt. Thanks for that, Rudy. Gosh, there's so much to say. I want to take something in front, and then if we have a moment, I'll jump back to something in the back.
Okay.
Laura, you spoke to that thing about collaboration and how we make it work and what's not. And then Rudy, you spoke as well. In fact, you asked Rudy about it. Rudy, you spoke to the relationship building and then letting everything grow from there. Couple of things that came to mind on that, and that's why I popped my hand up. One, I have been looking at a lot of stuff coming out of Africa in recent times. What existed in Africa before the Europeans arrived? And I stumbled in some of my lookings, I stumbled upon the idea of Ubuntu. And I want to speak as well to another idea, which is along the lines of Ubuntu, which is selfish benevolence. And while it initially appears to be an oxymoron, there's beauty in it. Also, tying it back to, we have been conditioned to view life from a position of scarcity rather than from a position of abundance. So we have it instilled in us in a lot of instances by the colonizers, by those who have come in and abused us, the sense of division, that for me to win, you must lose. But if we go to the place of, here in St. Lucia, and I don't know for other Caribbean islands, there's always a talk of the crabs in the barrel mentality.
But what I would say though, Kurt, not sorry, what I would say, but not to cut you, but maybe that's what I'm doing. One of the challenges that we do have is that the way human society is, there will always be challenges in that area in terms of a lack of selfless action. But what we try to do in the space where we are, we set that to one side, because what we say is we are where we are, and it's about, again, reaching that consensus so that we can progress. And there will always be people who are willing to do that, as you've experienced today. If you think of what's being created today, and you've been welcomed, and you've been welcoming as well. And so for me, that is the space where we are. And there's all kind of other things on the outside of that. That's why I go back to my simple line: the price of empowerment is collective responsibility. And that's the arena where we collaborate and compete and turn that into value for our well-being, whatever the well-being might be. It might be social well-being, it may be economic, it might be this creative dialogue, it might be very much some of the things that Ketty was saying. So I put to one side that other element of human existence, because it would always be there, and it's not just us. And again, we're not going to make any comparisons with anybody else.
Thanks for that, Rudy. And where I will pull it back to, I was talking about the crabs in the barrel mentality. Put the crabs in a barrel and they don't get out because each one pulls the other one down. But the interesting thing is there's power in language. So rather than assuming that point of view, I always say to folks, let us take the analogy that a rising tide will float every boat in the harbor. So while we won't necessarily speak to it in the first instance, let's say, it is the elephant in the room, and that elephant must be addressed. And if we take the attitude that we are going to live by the adage that the rising tide will float all boats, and that's where our overall success comes, and that's where we then empower and inspire others, because we will always have our moments of doubt about it, and others will question our sincerity. But our success will breed further success.
Absolutely. And we become more successful as we collaborate.
Absolutely. So I want to jump onto two other things very quickly. Laura, as you spoke to that Dramatists Guild and the Airbnbs, I got goosebumps. And I posted a link in the chat because just yesterday I completed a project where I am inviting folks to come experience my St. Lucia in a private residence where I arrange VIP airport clearance. I take you into my world, into the culture, the cuisine, etc. And the residence has a lot of outdoor space, you know, 4 couples at a time. So now it's like-minded people congregating and us building out. So I was like, oh my God, here is Laura speaking to the same thing. And that's why I just got so inspired that, you know, Rudy, just like you're saying, wow, when you brought these folks together, certainly when you invited me in, you had no idea, nor did I have any idea. But what a beautiful mushroom cloud we are building.
Exactly.
Wow. So that's that. And then my final thing. Winston, I was blown away because I'm looking at this stuff and I go, oh my God, that's a Jamaican flag. There's a US flag. There is a British flag. There's a European Union flag. And I'm seeing lots of yardman swagger in this. And I say so because the Caribbean is my home. I love the Caribbean. I've lived in quite a couple of the islands. I've visited 20 islands to date. And everyone has its own magic, and we are all tied together by a common thread. And now I'm seeing that that common thread is being extended across the pond of the Atlantic that, you know, connects us. So I just wanted to share that as well and just say, wow, Winston, I am so impressed. And I studied at Mona, so I spent 4 years in Jamaica, and Jamaica is very, very dear at heart to me. Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's my mouthful. Just thought that I had to share it.
Right.
I don't mean to cut you, Kirk, but this game is a Caribbean game.
Yeah.
I'm creating this for the Caribbean and Africa.
Yeah.
And because it hasn't been done. It hasn't been done. There is not a AAA game coming out of Africa or the Caribbean. And I set out to create a AAA game, not just any ordinary game. And they said, oh yeah, that was built. No, I want to be competing with the Fortnites, with the, you know, all these, you know, games that is out there, you know, selling millions.
Yeah.
That is what this game has to be, you know, for. So yeah, thank you very much, Kirk. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank everyone this evening who is on the forum. I'm sorry, but guys, but I have to leave. You got a meeting at within the next 3 minutes, which is a very, very important meeting. And I will, you know, explain to you guys later on, you know, what is happening. You know, there's some really good things happening for Aqua Blue at the moment. So I'll fill you in. I'll fill you guys in. Well, Laura, you know, you're in the group, so you'll be very much filling. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for having me, and enough respect. Hope we can do this more, not just Africa Day. We need to do this a lot more. So thank you guys. Diane, I don't know if you're still on, because I haven't heard you at all.
Yeah.
Is she still there, Rudy?
She is, and I was coming to Diane because Laura, Diane is really important, because what Diane is about, and we've said this earlier on, it's about that relationship building. Now, when we look at relationships, even if we think about our infrastructure, somebody still has to be at the forefront.
Yeah.
And Diane is one of those. She's at the forefront. And she's not shy.
Definitely.
I've seen her in action when she's ready. Might look kind of humble there, but I tell you, when she's ready.
Hi, Rudy. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, when she's
Sorry,
ready.
gotta go though. It's just at the time when you're on, we've got to go.
That's okay.
But love you, Laura.
Love you too.
And say, so we'll connect. Thanks,
love and
Rudy,
blessings.
and thank you everyone on the call. Gotta go. Thank you. Bye.
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 So Diane, because I actually met Winston through Diane. So Diane, your opportunity to say a few words as we're just coming down to the end of the show. So over to you.
Hi, so good evening, everyone. And it's wonderful to be here on here. I'm extremely tired. I had a very long day, but I just had to join for a while. So, you know, Rudy and I connected, and it's a connection that has worked in a big way. So I live in Brent, so the Borough of Culture, 2020. I was an interviewer for reggae music, and someone connected myself and Rudy, and within moments of me speaking to Rudy, and telling him that my dad, my late father, had a minicab office in Harlesden, and in no time he said, "Oh, your dad Arthur." And so that led on to so many powerful connections, including General Saint, who I connected with last year. And I just want to say thank you to you, Rudy, because you really do make connections work. And it is that collaboration. It is that collaboration. And it's just so important. You know, we've all got a part, we've all got a purpose on this earth. And for me, it's about helping mankind. And it's about from the heart. And I know what Rudy does is from the heart, and what Saint is doing is from the heart. And collaboration, you know, the right collaboration is so powerful. For me, it's about our young people, but it's also about our elders and that intergenerational connection as well. So, you know, I thank our Creator for the gifts that He's bestowing upon me and has. So, yeah, so I'm listening, and so I'm involved with reggae music. I'm involved with churches. I'm looking forward to going to Jamaica, yeah, where my parents came from. So, Rudy, there's lots planned there. So we are making connections work.
Thank you, indeed. So, Ketty, you haven't spoken for a while. I'll give you an opportunity.
Yes, I would love to know what music you write, Ketty.
It's a fusion, because I'm the African soul in jazz, so it's Afro, soul, and jazz. A fusion. Yeah, I grew up and I enjoy writing music. Well, I like to challenge myself to writing music. Unfortunately, though, my parents would not pay for me to go study music formally. So I'm left just understanding a few chords and working with the band to develop the sound.
She's underplaying herself, because Ketty sent me one of her songs, which we're going to feature on Fresh FM Radio London over the next few weeks, and especially this weekend. If I'd got it a bit earlier, it would have been, you know, heavily promoted today. But what we will be doing, which I haven't told her this yet, but a lot of the social media campaign to follow up on what we've done, so that people can go and find the links. We're actually going to use Ketty's song, because it has what we there's a message in the music in that particular song that she's done. It's excellent. And maybe you could talk about that particular song, Ketty.
The song is called Kula, which means grow. Yes, Khula. And it is about Africa, and the vision, if I can, the vision for this continent and people thriving, colorful sentiments that even as the world is in crises, Africa rises.
Yeah.
With the determination to move beyond misconceptions and a rebirth of a land and people viewing themselves as equal, and emerging filled with purpose, towering over all adversities, because we are thriving as a people. And that's the first verse that I talk. But yes, for the kids to grow and understand that it's when you thrive and succeed that my colors as Africa will exceed anything else out there, and we will shine. So this is the message that it's about healing, you know, that we have to find from it in, and also just an identity, having a solid confidence about who you are and what's inside you, that you are, and your purpose in life. Yeah, but I found this very interesting, and I'm sad that Mr. Hillsap has now left, because I'm so curious. My challenge with music has been that finding the visual aspects, or, you know, building the visuals behind the music and the stories. And so what he's done has been quite inspiring and away from the norm. And maybe that's why it was a challenge, because it needed something fresh, you know, and forward, in a fresh and a forward interpretation into the future. And the question is, like, how long does it take to create something like that? You know,
well,
like
Pexel, P-E-X-E-L has free video content if you want to try to do something for fun. PEXEL.com. Yeah, PEXEL.com.
Right. Oh yeah, like samples that one could put together to create.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, P as in Peter, EXEL.com.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh wow, thank you for that. So I'm gonna go and play around. It's gonna be, forget Netflix. Let's create.
Yeah. Let's build something, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man. No, thank you for that. I will get in touch, Mr. Elliot Kirk, because I've got a photography workshop for kids in rural areas, or ideas for that, you know, for how do we use photography and the story writing, and let them create newsletters in their schools. So I'm keen to engage with that, about that with you.
Beautiful.
No, thank you very much for the space. This has been a very empowering day, quite a bit, you know, one has had a lot to take away. Thank you very much, Rudy, for giving, this has been a gift. Thank you. Just need to gift wrap it in my imagination. Beautiful birthday gift.
Excellent. It's all about sharing, collaboration, trust, and cooperation. That's what's transformational.
Okay.
I think that it's delightful as well, if I can just jump in for half a moment. Ladies, I heard you echoing something. I mean, Laura, Diane said it as well. And then there was also the other lady who was with Winston. And this has been music to my ears. That anchoring, but also seeing that anchoring coming from our queens. Because, you know, in our male egocentric world, a lot of times we can get carried away that we are it. But the truth is, it is the women behind us that truly make us who we are, and then allow us to grow together. And that idea of togetherness is very, very core to me, because also often I see us not working that way. So I just want to salute you, ladies. I feel like I've found a home. Yeah, thank you.
No, I'm the one that found the home. I have so many vacation spots I can go to now. I'm ready.
Great. Right. So, Laura, I'm going to give you the last word before we finish our Africa Day dialogues. I've done 7 hours today. That's a whole day's work.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Rudy, and just for being in the space of the person that you are, which is making connections work, and that is who you are. I mean, it's no pun on words; it's actually happening, right? And And it's so essential that we always go back to the source to see. So it's great gratefulness for making connections work, Fresh Radio London, all the sponsors, the Black History Season, the International Decade of People in African Descent. During certain times of the broadcast, we had the opportunity to be on Clubhouse. We also did a little bit of Instagram. Of course, Rudy was doing Facebook, and he's doing Fresh FM and YouTube. With Lighthouse Broadcasting, we are streaming live now to Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, and on mobile devices. And so every now and then I'm checking my phone to make sure that the transmission, everything is doing what it's supposed to do. And also I've done a little bit of Discord with some of the discussion too, which is another metaverse thing that people use that are programmers as a server base. So the bottom line is that there are plenty of ways that we could come together, share the knowledge. There are plenty of ways that we can disperse the knowledge. The most important takeaway that I think is that everyone here is powerful. You're powerful enough to set up your own node, your own hub. And if we let the center of it be from a place of lack of selfishness, love, just the true connections, then we don't have to put so much emphasis on centralization like the systems that we have today have done. And those systems are failing, which is why interplanetary file system is coming into play to take care of the failing systems that we have. But we're early enough to build strong enough nodes so that we do not have infrastructure challenges as we share. So I should have no problems going to South Africa and then eventually going to St. Lucia. And then there's another stop in St. Lucia for food, isn't there, Rudy?
Absolutely. Chef Orlando,
yeah, so
restaurant.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
There's some things happening that, you know, and I think the world needs to know about it. And I think we've done our due diligence to try to inform as many people as possible to let them know that Africa is alive and the diaspora is strong, very strong. Thank you all for everything and for coming up and showing up authentic and beautiful, strong Black people as you are. God bless you.
Thank you and good night all. And again, finally, happy Africa Day to everyone.
Hey, to you too. Thank you.
You.
Yes.